All right, let me go turn right here and everything should be fine. All right, so why did I buy the CB1000R? So in like a previous video, I mentioned that I was having physical health issues and I had to let go of the S1000R. To be honest, that bike was fantastic, but like physically, it didn't feel right to me. I think like just my physical health issues, like I wasn't comfortable on that bike, so I had to let it go. So I did my physical therapy and did all that stuff, and I decided I wanted to try a liter naked again. So I looked in the dealership for about a month and there was this blacked out 2023 MT10. Now I had an MT09 before. I have currently an XSR 900, and generally I really like Yamaha bikes, so you know that would be like a natural progression, right? But the day I went to go get the MT10, like walk into the dealership and just straight up purchase it, somebody bought it. Somebody really bought it. So I was so disappointed and sad. While I was walking around the dealership, I saw this bike. I saw the CB1000R. So currently I'm into retro style looking bikes. That's why I really love my XSR 900, which actually might end up being like a forever bike, depending if I have a chance to get like a more updated version. Now on paper, yes, this bike is not the most feature rich bike out of all the naked bikes, both European and Japanese, but it makes up for it with style. Like, to be honest, this is like one of the best looking bikes in this class in my opinion. So it was an instant buy for me. I may be sad that I couldn't get that MT10, that sweet CP4 engine, but let's be quite honest here, that bike is hideous looking. Sorry guys, I mean that's just my opinion, but yeah, that bike looks really horrible looking. I mean, if Yamaha made a XSR1, I guess, if just to keep with the naming scheme, oh, that would be like perfect. But for now, you know, I have the CB1000R. I really like this bike. It's not the most performance rich bike, but you know what, you don't really need it. We buy motorcycles based on emotions, not logic. I mean, riding a CB1000R or any liter bike here or anywhere, to be honest, if you're not like a MotoGP racer or whatever, you are not going to use full potential of a liter bike. That's just the straight truth, at least on the street anyways. But you know, again, very emotional creatures. We buy things based on emotion. So owning this bike for a year, you know, I have like some good, bad, and uglies about this bike. The good, you know, this bike looks really good. I love the looks of this bike. It gets so much attention, and yeah, you know, looks sort of subjective. The other thing I like about this bike is that it's very streetable. Like I mentioned, like I had a S1000R. Yeah, you can street that thing too, but I was not comfortable riding that bike to work. Even though it was kind of upright, it was still a bit aggressive, and I just hated riding that bike to work. And I know it's not made for that. Yes, I know you're not supposed to ride a bike like that. I get it. It's a liter bike. I should be really pushing it, but you know, on the street, I don't want to break the law and get my license revoked. This is a bike you can definitely use as an everyday bike. It's very, very comfortable, especially with the risers now, and it's wonderful. I don't know what else good things to say about, you know, just the riding experience overall. The bad things about this bike is, I mentioned earlier, I was going to kind of mention, is the paint. Now, the nature of black painted vehicles is that scratches show up much easier. It's kind of annoying because like if I wash the bike, I gotta be very careful on using like new microfiber towels or a new wash mitt, because scratches will show up easier. To get rid of that, of course, you gotta wax it. And you know, I'm not the only one that has this kind of concern. There are people online that says that the paint quality that Honda used on this bike isn't the best. I had plans to go get it ceramic coated, but I never got the chance to do it, so I don't know, maybe it's a future thing I might really have to do just to protect the paint on this bike. The other thing that I kind of don't like is the rear shock, and it's a common complaint with this bike. It's a bit soft. It is set to my weight. In fact, factory settings on this bike is set to my weight, which is around 150-155 pounds. So I don't know, just coming from like a semi-active suspension on the S1000R, it is a bit jarring, and I've gotten used to it. But for you know, like a flagship type of bike, it should have much better suspension. And for the ugly, this bike looks good, and it's very rare. It's like a very rare bike. I mean, I've only seen maybe 2 in the last, I'd say, 5 years, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending. For a good thing is that, you know, it garners a lot of attention. People always are asking like what kind of bike this is. The bad thing about having a rare bike is that there's not like a big community around this bike. My XSR 900, my MT-09, you'd find communities, like there's big communities online and offline. So if I have a problem with the bike, I can just go online to Facebook, or like, you know, like a Facebook group or Reddit, and post a question, and you'll get all kind of, you know, answers. People post pictures and what mods they have with this bike. Not so much with this bike. I know I'm part of one on Facebook, and there is a community on Reddit, which, you know, it's really sparse with content. That's the only thing bad with this bike, or the ugly part of this bike. Other than that, it's like very, very fantastic looking bike, and performance is just great. All right, so I'm looking for a spot to do a shoot of this bike. I think I know where. I gotta go back around. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and try and find a spot to shoot. But if you made it this far, you know, thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please give a like, and if you're so inclined to, please give a subscribe. That would help me a lot. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.